guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you my current foundation routine. My foundation routine has evolved a lot over the last few months. It has been quite a journey to figure out what steps I need to take to make it look flawless on my face, to make it not get cakey or move. I wanted to share with you guys the things that I've discovered via YouTube or beauty blogs or just kind of like playing around with makeup to help my foundation apply a lot better and stay throughout the day. So I'm just going to explain everything as I go. The first step that I always do after I wash my face is I apply a moisturizer. I talked in my favorites video, which I'll link down below in case any of you guys are interested in seeing it, but I love to use Cetaphil. It is a great lotion, but just because I like to try new things. Recently I've been using this Olive Face moisturizing lotion. It is anti-aging olive oil facial moisturizer. Anti-aging olive oil facial moisturizer. Why is that so hard for me to say? I don't know. I am actually really enjoying this. It has like a really light olivey smell to it. It's actually kind of pleasant. I enjoy it. It's not too intense at all, and I feel like it works really good. I love that it's all natural, and I haven't had any issues with breakouts or skin irritation, so I'm always a fan of that. The amount of moisturizer that I apply to my face is literally never more than this much. It's like a pea-size amount, if that, on my finger. And then I just pat this all over my face, really concentrating on the outer perimeter of my face because my T-zone is super oily, so I like to be very sparing with that area, especially my under eye area, but I still put it all there because I want to replenish the moisture that was pulled out when I washed my face. It's kind of like when you wash your hair often, your hair's going to get greasier faster. And it's the same thing with the skin on your face. If you wash your face and you don't apply moisturizer, your skin's like overcompensating for the moisture that's been lost, and it's actually going to get oilier. So I don't want that to happen. I always make sure to moisturize my face before I apply my foundation. I rub it into my fingers and then I just gently pat it all over my face. I don't want to rub because I don't want to irritate my skin. I don't want to create more redness. I also don't want to like make my pores even more visible than they already are because I have large pores, especially, I can't talk today. I have large pores, especially in this area of my face. I skip primer. I'm not a big believer in primer. It's just not something that I feel like helps me at all. I've used several different primers and none of them made really any difference. Some of them actually made me look more cakey. Maybe it was just all of the different layers of makeup on my face as well. But I mean, if you guys have any suggestions that you want me to try, please let me know. But as of now, I don't feel like I need it, so I just kind of skip that step. I like to use this Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless Foundation. It is for normal to oily skin. I actually talked about this in my favorites video as well. I love this foundation. I heard a lot of reviews about it being amazing, and so I picked it up and I tried it and I love it. It's been so good to me. I'm so excited that I found this and that it is inexpensive as well. I think it's like $8, which is so great. I use a beauty blender for application of my foundation. I don't like to use anything that's going to make me have to like rub the foundation into my face because, like I said, I've got these large pores. I don't want to enhance the appearance of them. I want to help them disappear. I want to create a smoother surface on my face, so I want to pounce my foundation on. I always use a little bit of foundation at first. I don't want too much because I don't want to end up with cake face because I've put way too much foundation on my face and I can't blend it. But this is about how much I start with right here, and then I usually start on one side of my face and I just pounce. My son did that. I tell ya, trying to do this business with children is not always easy. They're usually in my room with me, like while I'm doing my makeup, playing in my makeup. So I've got like little like nail scuff marks in my eyeshadows, and I've got like broken pencils and holes in my beauty blender. This is covering really well. I'm going to come in underneath my eye and just continue to pounce that in. I want to move the foundation. I want to spread it, but I don't want to wipe it. So I just kind of keep doing this until it seems like I've used up all of the product on the sponge. And then I'll go ahead and add a little bit more. Just a little bit more on the sponge, and I'll kind of go over to the other side of my face, do the same thing. I actually like putting foundation on my lips because it creates a really nice base for whatever lipstick you're going to use. Of course, going over my nose as well. Now, I don't think I need any more foundation than what I've applied on my sponge now, because I like the coverage I'm getting. There's still makeup left, so I can move it on up to my forehead and use up whatever's left on there. Foundation really isn't supposed to cover up all your blemishes, but it's supposed to help even your skin tone. So I guess just think of it that way. Like, you don't want your foundation to cover up every single blemish. That's not what it's for. So you don't want to pack it on so thick that it does that, because then you're going to end up with cake face. That's what your concealer's for. So if you've got those blemishes that didn't get completely covered with your foundation, just come in with a concealer and use that to cover those up. And that's basically it for the foundations. And then the next thing I come in with is this Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer. It's the eraser for dark circles. I like the formula. It has a really smooth consistency about it. It does not cake my under eyes nearly as bad as some of the other ones I've tried. Also, I feel like doesn't crease as bad either. I think part of that is also my setting routine that I do after I apply the concealer, but I've really been impressed with this concealer. I like it a lot. And I want to just apply it in patting motions. Again, I don't want to rub because I don't want to move the foundation that I've applied underneath. And I just kind of create a triangle shape, and then I always come in a little bit underneath my nose here as well. And do the same thing on the other side. Just patting it on until I've got two nice little triangle shapes here. And I'm going to grab the other end of my beauty blender and I'm going to just pounce that and blend it in really well. And then the same thing on the other side, kind of working it up and back, down around the nose. Now, I know a lot of people like to apply concealer on the forehead, their nose, their chin, and their cupid's bow. I don't, because I like to try not to put any more product on my face than need be, because I don't want cake face. So I just put concealer on my under eye areas or any little blemishes I might have in other areas of my face. And then that's it. I'll show you what I do to like brighten up other areas and highlight them as well without concealer. But first, I'm going to show you how I set my under eye area. I always come in with a loose translucent powder. This one is Translucent Finishing Veil by Purely Basics. And what I like to do is take the translucent powder and just put a good amount on the lid here, just like that. And then you're going to want to take this end of your beauty blender. I always make sure that I kind of go over my under eye area first to make sure I don't have any creases there before I apply the loose powder, because I don't want to set those creases. I want them to be nice and smooth first. And then I go right in, you just dip the end of your beauty blender right in to that translucent powder, and then you're going to just dab it on. And you want a generous amount here. And you'll see as it's been setting in my under eye area that your skin actually really absorbs it, and this just seals that concealer in your under eye area. It has been a game changer for me. I would just use like pressed powders in my under eye area to try to set it, and within a couple hours the oils in my skin would seep through that finishing powder and my under eyes would look cakey and awful, and just like my makeup would just move around everywhere. So I found that if I actually bake my under eye area with a loose powder, I always want to make sure I get right there in my nose because that's a really greasy area as well. Just pack it in there. But I found that if I set my under eye area, that doesn't happen. My under eyes stay matte all day. I don't have any oils coming through, so that's amazing. It's totally worth the extra time for me to set my under eyes to keep that from happening. The next thing I do is I grab a setting powder, whatever setting powder you prefer. I just like this Covergirl professional loose powder. It's translucent light. I take the little powder puff thing that comes inside of it and I dab that on my cheeks, below my cheekbones here where I don't have any of the setting powder, just kind of around everywhere else that hasn't been set yet by powder. And that's all I need to do. I don't get too crazy with it. I always touch my skin and make sure that it has a dry, matte finish to it. If it still feels wet, then I haven't put enough powder on. That's kind of how I know that I've put enough on to keep it from moving throughout the day. Next thing I do is I take this OFRA Oil Control Pressed Powder. I also talked about this in my favorites. I thought it was translucent, but it's actually brightening. Like, it will lighten your skin a couple shades, so I definitely don't want to use this all over my face, but I do like to use it in my T-zone where I haven't baked my face, up here on my forehead, my nose, and my chin, and my cupid's bow area to highlight, but to also help keep the oil down in those areas. But I just take a little brush, a little fluffy brush here, and then same with everything else, I don't want to rub, I just want to pat that powder onto my face. So as you can see, it's kind of brightening. It's a lighter than my skin tone. And I just dab it on in, just like that. So I usually like to let my under eyes bake for at least 5 minutes. It's probably been about 3 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and go do a couple things, let this sit on my face for a bit, and then I'll be back and I'll remove it and I'll finish up this foundation process. Alright guys, I am back and ready to remove this translucent powder. So when I take off my translucent powder, I like to use this pressed powder. I add a little bit onto a brush. This actually helps to brighten the under eye areas a little more, which I like. And when I remove this translucent powder from underneath my eyes, I again don't want to use rubbing motions. I want to pat it off because I don't want to rub off any of the concealer or foundation underneath that I've applied. I want that surface to stay smooth so that my pores are very minimized. So I take this brush and I just go in my under eye area and I pat it off. You can see it's coming off really nicely. I don't need to do any kind of rubbing motion. Just pat it off, and it's really brightening in the under eye area as well. I think it's a combination of the concealer and this powder. So I do that until all that translucent powder is gone, and then I'll add a little bit more to my brush and do the same thing on the other side. Just pouncing that powder off. Try to get really close. I hope you guys can see my face really well here. I hope you can see that my pores are very much diminished and it looks a lot smoother here in my under eye area. I probably should have showed you what my cheeks look like before I applied this stuff. Believe me when I say my pores are huge. It's super greasy. Right now it feels really matte, feels really nice, and my pores are not nearly as noticeable, and that is going to hold up all day long. I sweat a lot, it's summer, and I'm chasing after my kids all day, and so in the midst of all that, when I do this, that concealer does not move. So I highly recommend trying this if you have the same problem as me. So that's it for my foundation routine. I'll go ahead and put on my lipstick, my bronzer, highlighter, and blush and all that, and then I will be right back. Alright guys, this is the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it was informative and that it helps you guys. If it does, please let me know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so that you can stay updated about upcoming videos. I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye!